I screamed inside my head. He promised to communicate, but silence became his only answer. The words scorched my throat, unspoken yet louder than thunder. I wanted him to see the chaos he left in me, but he only gave me shadows. His eyes had once been fire, now they were stone. I tried to touch his hand, but it hung limp like a stranger's. Emma said, "Tell me you still care," but the silence was heavier than betrayal. The room reeked of unfinished confessions, air thick with doubt. Mark smiled faintly, but it wasn't love. It was an apology carved from absence. I knew that smile was the coffin of promises. He whispered, "It's not what you think," but his lips sealed shut after. The silence roared louder than any lie. My chest cracked, holding words I couldn't bury, while he just watched me drown. Emma whispered, "I thought openness meant honesty." The words cracked like glass under pressure. She remembered when Mark promised love would be their anchor, not a weapon. The promise now tasted like ash, sharp and dry in her throat. He sat motionless, hands clasped, his silence louder than violence. She wanted to believe his love was still inside him, but every moment without words carved another scar. Her chest rose and fell with rage and grief entwined. The rules they wrote together suddenly mocked her like cruel graffiti. His silence told her he had already left, though his body was still here. Emma remembered when he held her hand in a crowded cafe, whispering, "We can make this work." Back then, love felt like courage, not punishment. But now every silence was a blade. She said, "You gave me freedom, but you forgot to give me truth." Her voice wavered, sharp and broken. Mark shifted slightly, but remained mute. The clock ticked louder than his words, each second a hammer driving doubt deeper. She closed her eyes and imagined the warmth of his voice, but memory was not enough. She was left clutching ghosts instead of promises. Emma said, "You built the rules, not me." Her voice was ice, steady yet shaking beneath the surface. She remembered his promises etched like scripture. No secrets, no lies, always speak first. Yet here they were, silence splintering those laws. Mark turned his face toward her for a fleeting second, eyes hollow, guilt pressing against his lips. He opened his mouth, then shut it again. That was worse than betrayal. It was abandonment wearing her skin. She realized that rules protect nothing when hearts are already gone. Emma leaned back, exhausted, her voice a whisper. "You promised me communication, not this graveyard of silence." Her body sank into the couch like surrender. She searched his face for even a flicker of truth. Nothing came. The rain outside grew harsher, pelting the windows like accusations. Her chest burned with unspoken rage, but her eyes pleaded for mercy. Mark sat still, rigid, a monument of absence. She realized this was their beginning, and their ending colliding. Silence had replaced love, and it was louder than any goodbye. Emma whispered, "It started small, didn't it?" Her voice cracked like thin ice. Mark had said he'd answer every call, every message, but hours stretched into empty nights. Emma remembered staring at her phone, heartbeat sensing with each unanswered ring. Mark claimed he was busy, meetings that ran late, yet his eyes betrayed stories his lips buried. Emma said, "Do you think silence feels lighter than a lie?" Mark turned his face, a shadow covering truth. His silence was no longer emptiness, it was intent. Trust began to unravel thread by thread, delicate strands snapping beneath invisible weight. Emma clutched her chest, realizing silence was not absence. It was choice, and choices carve wounds. Emma remembered when Sophia entered the picture. At first it was harmless, coffee after work, late-night laughter, all explained away. Emma asked, wasn't she supposed to be casual? Mark avoided her eyes, answering with silence sharper than a blade. Sophia's name lingered like perfume in every corner, subtle yet undeniable. Emma felt her heart bruise with every detail he refused to share. Mark claimed, "It's nothing serious," but his clenched jaw told otherwise. Emma thought the rules protected them, but rules collapse under hunger. She realized Sophia wasn't just a name. She was a presence that stole light from Emma's nights. Jealousy crept in slowly, like mold in corners no one notices until it's everywhere. Emma said, "You promised no favorites." Her words trembled with rage and fear. Mark shifted, lips pressed tightly, refusing to admit what was already visible. Sophia's laughter haunted Emma's dreams, echoing through silence. She remembered once believing polyamory was strength, but now it felt like rot. Emma clenched her fists. Mark's silence turned into an accomplice, defending betrayal without a word. Every glance he shared with Sophia became a knife twisting deeper. Emma whispered, "I wanted freedom, not abandonment." Her voice broke, fragile and raw. Emma stared at the rules written in their notebook, promises etched like sacred vows. No lies, no hiding. Always speak first. She traced the ink with shaking hands. She asked, "Do these words mean nothing to you?" Mark froze, lips parted, guilt flickering across his face. He didn't need to answer. The silence was already loud enough. The notebook mocked Emma, its lines blurred by her tears. Rules had once given her control, but now they were just brittle paper burning in betrayal. Emma slammed the book shut, her heart echoing the sound. The walls of their fragile world crumbled. Emma said nothing, but her silence burned louder than screams. She watched Mark from across the room, his shoulders hunched, fingers tapping nervously. She thought of Sophia's eyes, how they glowed when Mark smiled. The thought hollowed her chest. Emma's tears blurred the room into haze, every shape distorted by grief. Mark muttered, "It's not like that," but his eyes betrayed him. Emma wanted to scream, to demand truth, but exhaustion chained her voice. Silence devoured her, turning her into the watcher of her own unraveling. She realized pain unspoken was worse than pain confessed. Silence was no longer survival. It was surrender. Emma felt intimacy slipping like sand through clenched fists, no matter how tightly she tried to hold on. The warmth in Mark's arms had turned into absence disguised as presence. She whispered, "You've given her what you once gave me." And the words carved cracks in the silence. Mark stiffened, shoulders rigid, but his lips betrayed nothing. Emma remembered when every embrace was sanctuary, when his touch melted her fear. Now, each touch felt rehearsed, hollow, like skin meeting skin without heart. Sophia's shadow lingered between them, filling every pause. Emma wanted to believe silence meant confusion, but it screamed of choice. She realized love wasn't fading, it was being stolen in plain sight. Secrets spread like cracks across glass, invisible until the whole pane threatens to shatter. Emma asked, "Where were you last night?" Her words trembled, but her eyes held fire. Mark lowered his gaze, silence becoming the answer he refused to shape into words. His phone buzzed on the table, Sophia's name glowing like a scar across Emma's vision. Her breath caught, chest tightening as denial became impossible. Emma whispered, "Don't make me beg for the truth you already owe me." Mark closed his eyes, shoulders sinking, as if shame alone was a substitute for confession. Emma realized silence wasn't his weakness. It was his shield, protecting betrayal with cruel precision. Each secret became another thread tearing their bond apart. Lingering stares told stories that silence dared not confess. Emma saw the way Mark's eyes drifted to Sophia. How they lingered longer than casual. How they glowed with hunger once meant only for her. She whispered, "I see the way you look at her." Mark's silence cut sharper than denial, his face still but his betrayal alive in his gaze. Emma remembered nights where his eyes searched for her across crowded rooms, filled with fire, filled with need. Now she felt invisible, a fading silhouette beside him. She asked, "Am I still enough?" But no words came. The silence was an answer she could not unhear. Jealousy coiled in her ribs, not as weakness but as proof of love starved and stolen. Sophia's voice was no longer background noise. It was thunder claiming the sky. Emma said, "She's demanding more of you, isn't she?" Her tone was sharp, her eyes blazing. Mark twitched, fingers tapping his knee, lips parting but refusing to release truth. Sophia had been the casual guest, the name that never mattered, yet she now filled the silence with unbearable presence. Emma whispered, "Was I ever your priority?" But her voice felt like ash as soon as it left her lips. Mark looked down, shame crawling across his features, but shame was no replacement for love. Emma realized Sophia had stopped being the outsider. She was the anchor pulling everything Emma once trusted into the sea. The storm was already inside the walls, and Emma had nowhere left to hide. The air thickened like smoke, choking every breath. Emma sat on the couch, her knees pressed to her chest, heart pounding against her ribs like a trapped bird. Mark leaned back in his chair, jaw locked, eyes shut, as if silence could absolve him. Emma said, "Every moment you hide from me, you kill us." The words broke the room open, but Mark stayed frozen. His silence grew monstrous, bigger than his body, heavier than his guilt. Emma whispered, "I don't recognize us anymore." Her tears blurred his face into a stranger's outline. He exhaled once, slow and heavy, but it was not an answer. Silence had become their language, and Emma realized she was the only one still trying to speak. The knock on the door shattered Emma's silence like a thunderclap. She opened it and froze when she saw Olivia, Mark's sister, standing pale and trembling. Olivia whispered, "I saw him. He wasn't where he said he'd be." Emma's heart dropped, air turning to fire in her lungs. Olivia's eyes burned with reluctant truth, a mirror showing what Emma already feared. Emma stammered, "Who was he with?" But the answer was already carved into her gut. Olivia said nothing more, her silence heavy with confirmation. The walls of the apartment suddenly felt smaller, pressing Emma into corners of grief. She realized this wasn't suspicion anymore. It was discovery. Emma clutched Olivia's arm, whispering, "Tell me everything." Olivia hesitated, then said, "I saw him with Sophia. Not once, many times." Emma's knees almost gave way. She remembered Mark swearing Sophia was only casual, a passing flame. Yet Olivia's words carved open the lie. Emma saw images in her head. Mark's laughter, his secret smiles, the way he turned away from her. Olivia whispered, "I didn't want to hurt you, but you deserve to know." Emma's voice cracked. "He promised me, Olivia." Her sister's silence said the rest. Betrayal had grown roots too deep to deny. Emma confronted Mark, voice sharp as broken glass. "Your sister saw you. With her. Again and again." Mark froze, eyes wide before dropping his gaze. Emma demanded, "Why lie to me?" His silence screamed louder than words. She remembered his promises, etched into their rules. No hiding, no secrets, no lies. Every letter now mocked her. Mark muttered, "It wasn't supposed to be like this," but the words felt hollow, weaker than dust. Emma said, "You didn't just break rules, you broke me." His lips trembled, but no truth came. The betrayal stood naked between them, undeniable and merciless. The storm cracked open when Sophia herself walked in. Her eyes darted between Emma and Mark. No apology, no fear, only defiance. Emma whispered, "You knew." Sophia replied, "I was tired of being hidden." The words cut like a blade. Emma's chest burned as she realized Sophia wasn't just a shadow. She was the center now. Mark sat frozen, his silence betrayal's accomplice. Emma shouted, "You destroyed everything," but Sophia's lips curved in a cruel truth. "No, he chose me." The room trembled with revelation. Emma felt the world collapse, walls shaking, trust bleeding into the floor. Emma's body shook as she whispered, "You promised me communication. All I got was silence, and lies dressed as rules." Mark's face cracked with shame, but he said nothing. Sophia folded her arms, her presence unshakable, daring Emma to break. Emma's tears burned down her cheeks, her body trembling with grief and fury. She said, "You didn't just betray me, you betrayed the version of me that believed in us." The air was suffocating, silence pressing like chains. Emma realized this wasn't love anymore. It was war, and she had already lost. The twist wasn't Sophia. The twist was Mark's choice. Emma's voice erupted like thunder. You don't get to sit in silence anymore, Mark. Her body shook as years of love turned into fire. Mark tried to speak, but choked, his lips quivering. Sophia leaned against the wall, arms crossed, watching with unshaken defiance. Emma pointed at her, screaming, she was never supposed to be the center of us. Mark slammed his fist into the table, shouting, I never meant to hurt you. The sound reverberated through the room like a gunshot. Emma sobbed, but you did. Every silence, every lie, every stolen night burned me alive. The storm had no return. Mark shouted, I love both of you. His voice cracked, raw with desperation. Emma screamed back, you don't love us, you collect us. Her words sliced through the air, piercing deeper than any wound. Sophia's eyes flared as she hissed, I won't be hidden anymore. Mark buried his face in his hands, breath ragged, torn between fire and ruin. Emma's tears blurred her vision, but fury gave her clarity. She said, you broke every vow you made. The room shook with the collision of voices, confessions hurled like knives. This wasn't love anymore. It was a battlefield soaked in betrayal. Emma's voice broke, but she forced the words out. You turned my love into silence, and her life into a secret. Mark lifted his head, tears shimmering, whispering, I was lost. Emma spat. You were greedy. Sophia's chest heaved, her voice trembling with fury. I wanted to matter, and I do. Emma's body shook with rage as she screamed, at the cost of my soul? The silence after felt like shattered glass on the floor. Mark tried to reach for Emma's hand, but she pulled away violently. His touch now carried poison. The climax wasn't only betrayal. It was Emma's refusal to bleed quietly anymore. The silent sufferer in Emma finally erupted. She screamed until her throat burned. I begged you to talk to me. I begged you to be honest. Mark's tears spilled as he whispered, I thought silence would protect you. Emma shook her head violently, shouting, silence destroyed me. Sophia muttered under her breath, at least he didn't lie to me. Emma's fury turned toward her, eyes blazing like fire. You stole what was never yours. Sophia stood her ground, refusing to bend. The room pulsed with chaos. Every secret, every silence, every betrayal had detonated, leaving nothing untouched. Emma collapsed to her knees, sobbing so violently her chest shook. She whispered, you promised me love. You gave me silence and another woman's smile. Mark fell beside her, reaching, but she shoved him away. Sophia's voice trembled. You both wanted this life. Don't blame me for living it. Emma screamed. We wanted love, not betrayal. The room went quiet, except for the storm pounding outside. Mark's voice cracked. I'm sorry. But Emma heard nothing but the sound of her heart breaking. The climax had been reached. There was no way back. Only ashes remained. The shouting was gone, but the silence that followed was heavier than any scream. Emma sat slumped against the couch, her breathing shallow, her eyes glazed, as though life itself had abandoned her. Mark leaned in the corner, hands gripping his knees, face drained of color, eyes swollen red. He whispered something under his breath, but it was too broken to hear. Sophia paced, arms crossed, her defiance dimmed to restless anger. Emma's voice cracked like old glass. This isn't survival. This is ruin. Mark flinched, muttering, I never wanted it to end like this, but his words turned to dust the moment they left him. The storm had ended outside, but inside their bones, it was still raging. Emma's hands trembled as she touched the notebook of rules lying on the table, pages torn, edges stained with her tears. She whispered, I gave everything, and silence gave me nothing back. Mark took a step forward, shoulders sagging, voice heavy. I thought I could manage us, but I failed you. I failed all of us. His words hung lifeless in the air. Sophia stopped pacing, her expression sharp, and muttered, At least I was honest about what I wanted. Emma let out a bitter laugh that sounded more like a sob. Honesty means nothing when love is already dead. The words stung them all, filling the room with suffocating quiet. The fire was gone, but the ashes smothered them alive. Mark lowered his voice, barely audible, words dragging like chains. I thought silence would keep us from breaking. Emma lifted her head, her face streaked with tears, voice fierce through her pain. Silence didn't protect me, it erased me. Sophia exhaled, jaw clenched, her voice low but firm. I won't stay hidden anymore. I deserve more. Emma turned to her, eyes hollow yet sharp, whispering, "You deserved honesty. I deserved it too." Mark covered his face with trembling hands, his shoulders shaking as he finally understood the weight of what he had done. Emma whispered, her voice like a knife, "You weren't the victim. You were the cause." Those words echoed in the hollow room like a verdict. Emma rose slowly, her body trembling as if it carried the weight of the entire room. She whispered, "We can't go back. We can't rebuild something that's already dust." Her words carried both grief and finality. Mark reached out, voice breaking, "Please, don't leave like this. Don't let it end like this." His desperation clawed at the silence. Sophia muttered bitterly, "Why beg now? The truth has already burned us." Emma turned toward both of them, her eyes no longer fiery, only hollow. "This isn't love anymore, this is survival. And survival means walking away." The words landed like stones in a quiet pond, ripples spreading across 3 broken souls. The war was over, and no one had won. The night ended not with rage, but with silence heavy as chains. Emma walked to the rain-streaked window, her reflection fractured in the glass. She whispered to herself, "Love without truth isn't love at all." The words trembled into the empty room. Mark collapsed into the chair, his body shaking, face hidden in his palms, muttering apologies no one could hear. Sophia stood near the door, gaze distant, already halfway gone from the moment. Emma pressed her palm against the cold glass, her tears falling slower now, each one carrying the weight of everything lost. She knew survival meant scars, not healing. Silence had stolen too much, and there was nothing left to rebuild. The resolution wasn't peace. It was emptiness, raw, permanent, and unforgettable. Emma sat by the window, the rain having slowed into a whisper against the glass. She whispered, "Silence has always been your answer, Mark. But silence is not love." Mark sat on the couch, shoulders hunched, lips trembling but offering nothing. His eyes darted toward her, but he could not hold her gaze. Sophia leaned against the doorframe, her arms loose at her sides, her expression no longer fire but weariness. Emma turned her reflection into confession. "I carried us until I bled. You carried nothing but your silence." Her words cracked the air. The storm was gone, but inside, the wreckage was all that remained. Mark finally spoke, voice low and cracked. "I thought silence would keep the peace." Emma turned, her eyes blazing through exhaustion. "Peace without truth is nothing but a coffin." Sophia shifted, her voice sharp but trembling. "You wanted both of us, but in the end you gave neither of us what we deserve." Mark covered his face, whispering, "I don't know how to fix this." Emma's chest rose with heavy breaths, her hands clenched. "You don't fix betrayal, you live with it." The words hit like a hammer, final and absolute. Silence once again filled the room, but this time it was permanent. The outsider's voice finally broke the silence. Olivia stood in the doorway, her face pale, eyes sharp as glass. "Do you see what you've done? You've ruined her, and for what?" Mark looked at his sister, shame heavy on his skin. Emma lowered her head, ashamed not of her pain, but of still wanting answers she knew would never come. Sophia crossed her arms, jaw tense, refusing to look away. Olivia whispered, "You don't deserve either of them." Emma's tears spilled again, quiet this time, falling like rain onto her hands. The judgment from outside was the echo Emma needed to hear. Emma rose from the couch, her body weak, but her voice steady. "I am not your victim, not anymore. Mark tried to stand, his voice cracking. "Emma, please?" But she cut him off with a single look. Sophia shifted uneasily, for the first time her confidence faltering. Emma whispered, "You thought I would break, but I survived your silence." Her voice grew stronger. "And surviving you is the loudest truth I'll ever speak." The room froze in the weight of her words. For once it was not silence that ruled, but Emma's final clarity. Emma placed her hand flat against the cold window, her reflection fractured by droplets. She whispered, almost to herself, "The final cruelty is not the betrayal, it's that I ever believed silence meant love." Mark collapsed back into the couch, his body shaking, but no words came. Sophia looked away, her arms folding across her chest as if to shield herself from the echo. Olivia's eyes softened, but she said nothing. The last sound was Emma's quiet breath, steady despite her breaking heart. The final blow was not screamed, it was whispered. Confession sharp as thunder, echoing long after the words had faded.